I think we got the bugs worked out of them.
You think?
We're gonna go ahead and get started. So,
Noise.
it's kind of weird because we can hear everything in the church auditorium right now. So it's kind of like we're doing a live podcast in front of nobody but Justin and Jamie and Cohen and Winnie. But I don't think Cohen and Winnie really care that much.
No,
They're
they're back in the kids area playing.
um. So we had basically this whole thing just started off one day after the young adults. We were sitting around. I think it was what's the brick? The brick one.
Oh, Brick Street.
Well, there's Brick Street, and then there's
Um,
what's the other one?
oh, what is that other restaurant?
We're sorry, Dennis. Dennis,
Brickyard?
is it Brickyard?
It's over there.
The one by Colton's.
Colton's and Home Depot. I want to say it's
Bricktown.
Bricktown.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bricktown Brewery. No, I don't know.
Anyways, we were sitting down, and I can't even remember what got brought up, but I just made the comment that I think it would be cool to do a podcast with uh, where you bring guests on from the church that either they're volunteers or just they just come to home church and they we just sit down and kind of talk because I think it's easy to sit down in an environment where it's not crowded and you don't have a lot of stuff going on, and it seems like you could probably open up a little bit more that way and really get people's inside story of how they feel about home church, because I know my story alone uh, is one that I don't think a lot of people, you hear about it and you're like, the first time I walked into the church, I knew it was the one, and you're like, yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah, like that's just, um, but just to give the insight on that, and I know there's a lot of people that listen online too, and they
Right.
don't necessarily come in every Sunday. So to see Clayton, you get to hear him yell and holler on stage, but you don't really know
Yeah, when he calls out one of us during the middle of service, you
mainly
don't really
the men
know. Yeah.
because he's afraid of Jamie. Love you, Clayton.
Yeah.
But so this was just kind of the birth child of that, and Zach took it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, bet." So he ended up getting stuff for a podcast, and here we are. So that's what this podcast is going to be about. Now, this first one, we're just going to kind of talk about what it was that kind of brought us together, and obviously we know that that's the Lord, but really the whole base camp experience.
Young
That
adult,
was, I
yeah.
think, that strengthened it a lot, and just kind of, I think a lot of guys don't realize that something like that. You take a vacation or you go away, and they think that it's just like they think it's a couple days off from work, and then or they're like this is going to be kind of creepy because I'm just going to be stuck in wilderness talking about Jesus. And the thing is the first, I've only been to two of them, and I don't know how many you've been
Yeah,
to.
I've only been to two of them too.
But the one in Arkansas, it was an eye opening experience, and it was kind of that break that I needed. But the one at Camp Galilee, right,
Yeah,
JB?
Camp Galloway. That's where we went last year.
I was able to do. I was up in a better place in my life with Christ, so I was able to do more serving and sit back and watch. And you see that side of it, and you begin to realize that men are just grown up children, and then they don't listen. It's hard to gather them around, and then I just began to laugh because it's like that's what we are. We're just grown children.
Yeah, I
And,
firmly believe that we never grow up. Our toys just get more expensive. So
yeah, more expensive and dangerous.
yeah, exactly.
But
Just like to go faster, louder.
uh, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at with it, and we will. Another thing that we wanted, I know Zach sent or posted a Facebook message letting everybody know, if you've got a business and stuff like that and you want to shout out in the podcast, definitely let us know. Zach or myself, we're 9 times out of 10. One of us is back here in the media booth on Sundays. Just come back here, give us a shout. Hey, even if it's like a friend of a family, they've got a little business doing this and that. Let us know. We'll definitely give you a shout out, and we will. We're not taking any money. We're not getting paid for this. It's just for the church. So uh, let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on, or at least give you a shout out at the very least, or something like that. So
Yeah,
I know
And
we have at least 5 or 6, maybe even 7 people lined up that are excited and ready to talk about it. So
oh, most definitely. And I know the two handsome men behind these microphones would love to give a big shout out to Beards and Riffs.
all day, every day.
Beards and Riffs Trading Company, keeping the Plumley and Nash man looking sharp every Sunday morning. They've got great products. I am somebody who I do have a beard, and I got the Christmas beard oil and stuff like that. That was not Beards and Riffs, and for a month I suffered with a dry, stiff, scratchy face, and it was miserable. I love everybody who were thinking of the beard oil, but Beards and Riffs keeps the face feeling fresh, smooth, beard looking just like a. I mean, look at Winfield alone, looking like a man every. Oh,
Looking
not them
majestic.
harsh chemicals,
Yeah.
no, just
No.
majestic Winfield up there with the voice of an angel, just. And I mean, another one that dawns it is the beautiful mustache that Dalton
Oh yeah, Dalton's got that sucker on point
curled
lately.
up like a
Ooh.
Doc Holliday dream, boy. And then if it's not Nathan Winfield, you got Tyler Morton just patting that bass, just tickling them bass strings back there. That beautiful beard he's got. That's a Beards and Riffs beard as well. Larry, if I know a lot of people don't get a chance to see him because all they hear is keys jingling and rushing through. But if you take a minute and just look at his beard, that's a Beards and Riffs beard as well.
Oh, there he goes.
There
right
he
there.
goes. He heard his name. He's over at the Nash's house right now. So, but Beards and Riffs, give him a check out.
Oh, great company. I know Nathan and Wayne will appreciate this shout out, but they are both great dudes, and they're both great dudes and come from different backgrounds that just work together really well. So
Justin, oh, Justin's bothering us. Jamie's in her office keeping an eye on us. But we are rolling up on Super Bowl Sunday here,
we are.
and I would like to thank Zach for allowing me to wear this wonderful Patrick Mahomes jersey. We're sitting here in
course,
our
man,
Chiefs
of course.
gear.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited about tomorrow. Uh, not just the fact that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, but the fact that it's a Kelsey Bowl and all that fun stuff too. So uh, I'm always excited to see Travis Kelsey play and Mahomes just going off like he does. So it's always a good time when they're on the field. The Eagles.
The Eagles.
So Andy Reid's going up against his old team. So that's going to be another fun
Before
fact.
we travel too far away from the subject of um, the Mahomes family, we've seen his brother, we've seen his wife. Ladies and gentlemen, I witnessed his father give an interview after the win, and we need more of that, man, in our life. I mean, I got a Joe Burrow. I mean, I was like, come on, where have you been? Like, we haven't seen his dad at all.
I've never seen an interview with his dad. So.
He looked like he celebrated. I will say that he was. But yeah, we're gonna have the which this we probably won't have this out.
I wouldn't imagine we'd go live tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
With everything going on, but maybe sometime in the future that we could go live during an event. I know we've talked about going live at next year's base camp, which would be pretty cool to get some of the guys, especially if we go like we did last year and bring in another church and get them involved and stuff like that. That'd be really cool.
And also do not to exclude the women or the youth or anything like that. Like this isn't just like a media or a a certain. This is we'd like to have everybody, anything that you serve in, because it doesn't matter how small or how little it is. Whatever you're going to do here, it's going to make an impact. So if you want to tell your story and get that out, like I said, just holler at one of us, because it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And do like a flourish for the women. Obviously, probably not going to be joining the event, but have an interview with ladies afterwards and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's.
Or come in on a Wednesday night and get some of the youths to talk or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool too.
Yeah, they mostly just laugh and giggle the whole time whenever they try to talk or pray. So it'll probably just be a
I feel like
30-minute
that's half of us,
podcast
man. Even
giggling,
as grown adults, we're over here just laughing, trying to figure it out ourselves. So,
but we're talking. They don't talk. They just love you, Hallie.
yeah, at least they're in the right place, man. So,
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to add before we dive into?
I mean, not that I can think of. I just again want to say thank you for doing this with me, and JB, thank you for being behind the scenes and helping us all set this up and
Most
making
definitely.
I guess our pipe dream come into fruition. Thanks, buddy. We love you.
Love you, Justin.
But uh, just a huge shout out to Home Church and making this available and letting us have having faith in us, and just to step out and letting us take a huge step for Christ and doing something fun in a new way.
And that's another shout out that I'd like to give to Justin too. Is what he's. I mean, it's not like this stuff is cheap back here, and it's not like this stuff is easy to teach. The media is. It can be sometimes daunting. I shouldn't say daunting, but especially when you're dealing with stuff that enjoys to just shut down whenever it wants to. You get a bunch of younger guys and definitely ones that haven't worked together. Justin does a great job back here of keeping morale up. I know that whenever I first started out back up here, or started back here, he would say something about push this button. No, the other. No, 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 not that one. No, the other one. No, that. Okay. No, no, not that one. And I
Pull the lever. Yeah, the wrong lever.
and he never slapped me. So thank you, Justin, and I love you. And
Yeah.
it's if you're ever worried about what somebody is going to think about you tripping and falling whenever it comes to serving, it's going to happen. It's called learning, and you don't get penalized for it and chastised for it. So that was the first thing that was I realized about home church. That's the Jesus that I seen come through in that aspect.
Yeah.
Was the look? We're not here. We're here to make it as perfect as we can, but you got to realize that if you turn it into work, it's your heart's not in the right place.
Right.
So
Yeah. We're all sinners saved by grace, just trying to grow His kingdom. So.
And, but I think, I mean, for the most part, that's. I think we can go ahead and
Yeah.
delve into the whole podcast situation. So yeah, basically, like we said, we were just kind of sitting around at the young adults, and if you're listening to this, which most of the people, I mean, for a good part of it, are signed up for the young adults.
Yeah, I think so.
We go and after church Sunday and try to go somewhere to eat and stuff, but that's really where this kind of stemmed off from. We were talking about it, sitting down, and like I said, Zach was like, "All right, bet, make it happen." So we got here and we got everything set up, everything ready to go, and I I think just knowing uh, kind of where everybody's heart's at here, knowing that it's not about who you are, not about this and this. It's about taking care of everybody. I think that's another reason that this podcast I really like the idea of, because you could have somebody normally. I'm normally not a talk, like I don't like to talk a whole lot in front of crowds, but you get a couple people around, I get
Right.
loose, and I can enjoy myself. But another part was like the whole just sort of being quiet, because for so long, just constant selfishness, always worried about me, what's going to happen for me next, when am I this and this and this and this, and you become so self-involved with yourself that when you become a Christian and you start walking, you finally reach that point where it's silence and there's peace and you can sit and you can enjoy it. And one of my things that I enjoy is listening to people's stories, listening where people come from, what makes them tick, because something that isn't that big of a deal to me may drive you crazy. Something that drives you crazy may drive me crazy too. And so
Right.
we connect in that. And then the next thing you know, you can find a connection, work from there, and then you can listen to sort of things and get a perspective on them. And that's what I enjoy doing, is taking a story that somebody tells you and going, okay, so let's say it was parents weren't around, they raised their brother and sister themselves. There's no way that I could ever imagine that, something like, having to do something like
Right.
that. So you dive into that mindset and you're like, okay, so they're not used to a whole lot of love and affection because they had to be tough. So they're going to do one of two things. Like at the first sight of love and affection, they're going to completely crumble, or they're going to reject you, reject you, reject you. And that can do you harm when somebody keeps rejecting, because you're like,
Right.
man,
Yeah.
God, I'm just trying to get you to follow. So something like this is, we're not pushing anything on anybody. We're not saying, okay, you're going to come on this podcast and you're only going to talk about this. We're just going to be free flowing, tell the story, let things happen its own way. We don't
Right.
even have
Yeah.
a script. And so that's the plot of this. And I think we'll go now and start turning into the friendship aspect of it. I think a lot of what really enticed me when I first came to home church, and I didn't have the whole breakup experience. I was a man following my own ways before home church was started up, but I was fortunate enough to come into it whenever it was just a small church, and it still had that. I'm not sure what the attendance was 2 years ago.
We maybe had 20, 25 people
Maybe,
when we first
yeah.
started.
But I remember coming in, and the first thing that caught my eye was I was like, for a smaller church, the lyrics and the background. I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, for a smaller church, because the only other smaller church I've been to was a Baptist church, and it was down south Baptist. Like, you had pictures of Jesus with his beards and riffs beard up on the wall. You had old school crosses and stuff. You didn't have TVs and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
Which is very cool in their own right, but it's not for everybody.
oh
So,
yeah, but I mean, in the same point, it's not like something like that makes or breaks a decision on it. Like, you're not like,
right.
yeah, they had 46-inch TVs. I can't go to a church that's got 46-inch TVs in it. That's not for me.
Yeah.
It's but the fact that they had the lyrics and they had somebody who was concerned with appearance. Like, it wasn't just
Right.
we're gonna throw some worship together. And I never enjoyed, and I hope my mom doesn't get mad at me whenever I say this, but it seemed like we were always the family to pop in about the last song of worship.
Yeah.
So worship wasn't something that really attracted me in the first place. And it's like, I got to be here anyways, so why, what's the importance of listening to somebody sing? I thought it was just no show. And then you begin to realize when you're scrolling through the lyrics and you're doing all that kind of stuff, you realize the importance of worship and
Right.
praise.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of like, where are you going with this? So that's whenever I started. Initially I was gonna come. I was coming here for a youth night, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. I'd probably been to Tantera Farms 700 times within a week, and Clayton probably.
Got
Jamie,
tired of it.
yeah, Jamie
Yeah.
probably had to. He was crying at night. He won't leave me alone. But I had never been so enamored with the Lord in my life, because it just seemed, for so long, you're just in a dark place.
Right.
And I think it goes back to the base camp and the men's health. I know it's difficult to be a man sometimes, because you feel like if you don't provide and you don't do this, you're not doing your job. And that's what base camp does, is it helps you realize that it's not about you. It's about what you let Christ do through you in your relationship and in your family, and all of that stuff. And that was the eye-opening experience. We didn't go out there and chop wood, and we didn't go
Granted,
out
that would
there.
have been cool though. But
No, it would not
no.
have been cool. I would not have preferred chopping.
I'm
not
sure
gonna,
Larry would have appreciated the help though.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a wood chopper, but no, I think that's whenever men see that and they realize, oh, okay, so there is a place where you can go to unwind, and it's called Christ. And instead of visiting that place once a year at base camp, you can begin to visit that place each and every night. And the thing that makes the media team, I think, which obviously the worship team, I've never been a singer, so I don't,
Yeah, me
or an
neither.
instrumental player, but I've been fairly decent at, hey, this is what I need you to do. Can you get it done? Yeah, I'll help you with what I can. But being back here and being close and tight knit, you're kind of in a world of your own at times. But that's whenever the friendships, I think, really blossom. I mean, not to mention Chiefs and Cardinals
Right.
fans,
Yeah.
but my side of it was is uh, I don't know, the Lord just happened to do a very good job of knowing what I needed, and at the time, uh, all of my old friends really they were drinking buddies or they were hang out and talk trash on somebody buddies, and those buddies started slowly, but surely fading out of your life for a reason. And at first I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe I need to just Brooklyn and then push everybody out.
Right.
So for like the first 6 months of church, it was kind of one of those, okay, we'll just
Be
stay focused.
cautious. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
focused, understand, and then after the 6 months, it just boom, 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 boom. Everybody just one after another, and it's weird because you go to a big church. I used to go to James River. I'm not talking trash on James River. I'm not gonna talk trash on any church. If any church didn't do good, it was because I wasn't walking with the Lord right at the time. So I'm
Right.
not gonna talk trash on any church. But I will say it was a lot, and it was hard hitting. You walk in the first thing, and it's a lot of people, and I'm uh, not much of a morning person right away. It takes me a little bit to get ready, and when you're forced, you feel like you're forced to go to church anyways. You don't want to be there in the first place.
Right.
Uh, you walk in here and you get that different feel. I did anyways, and
Right.
that's the thing. Clayton said it before every Sunday. Maybe this church isn't for you. There's a church for everybody out there,
Right.
and this just happened to be mine. And I'm going to give my testimony of why it's mine and why I keep it. So that's why I choose home church. Zach, why do you choose home church?
Uh, Basically, I wasn't right walking right with the Lord when I met Caitlin, my wife, and uh, was very depressed, and you I wouldn't say spiraling because I was coming back from living in Tennessee, luckily, and my dad let me move down there and figure some stuff out. But uh, came back, started dating my now wife, and she got me involved at Venture, which is where home church used to be before we split off and had some drama and all that fun stuff. But I choose home church basically because of the community and the the love that everybody has for themselves, and it's just easy to see Christ through everybody. And the fact that you get excited when you walk through the door, and you just feel like you're at home. Hence, the name home church. It's just literally more of your extended family.
One of my favorite things too is I one of the reasons, I mean, part of my past was extremely selfish. So you're constantly thinking about yourself. What do people? You're worried about what people think about you. Am I dressed right? Am I this right? Am I this and this and this? And I can honestly say that there are Sundays where I walk in here, and I mean, for me, it's a big leap. But I couldn't tell you what I wore. You could say, I mean, there's been times where Brooklyn will say something about, did you see Leonard's shoes or did you see Michael's shoes or something, and you're just so happy to see the person that they are. You're not even
Right.
worried. You just get excited about seeing them. I mean, um, which congratulations, Michael.
Yeah. Michael and Sydney,
Michael and
congratulations.
Sydney, yes, on their
Engagement.
proposal and
Yeah.
engagement. But a big a big thing for me, and I it just made me smile so big was the Christmas Eve. I wasn't able to attend Christmas Eve, but I was able to do the the rehearsal practice for it. And hearing Mandy and Nathan and seeing Leonard on the keys, and I'm pretty sure Dalton was playing drums that night. Um, but that's who it was like the first practice that I was here.
Right.
And I just couldn't help but break down and cry because, I mean, that's just how far that God's brought me in this process.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I just, you realize, I mean, things begin to change whenever and it's for the better. And I get excited because you get excited for people instead of seeing their blessings and being like, oh man, I want that.
Right.
You see people, prayers being answered and stuff like that, and it's just so amazing. And I think that that's another great thing about this podcast is it's just so personal. It's not there's no hiding, and that's the thing about God is if it is hidden from you, it's hidden for a reason. It's because you don't. It's destructive, and you don't need it.
Right.
And it whenever He begins to open your eyes, and He's like, "Hey, man, this has been here the whole time. You just been taking advantage of it." You're like,
Right.
"All right," and then boom, boom, boom. But so that's, I mean, we're not trying to persuade you to come back here on the media team, but if you are like an electronics type person and you enjoy that type of stuff, this gig back here is definitely for you. I know there are also other portions of the church that need help, but I don't know what those are at the moment,
No.
unfortunately.
I know we could always use more people back serving with the kids.
The Welcome Center, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
the Welcome Center is another one
Yeah.
that they, but
I mean, no matter what your talents are, we're not going to turn you away for
Yeah.
anything that you want to do. I know people love greeting and all that stuff every single Sunday, and that they're kind of bummed if they don't get to do it. So that's kind of how, oops, stepping on my cord, how all the serving aspects are of home church. You build a relationship with your team, and you're excited to serve every Sunday, and it doesn't feel like work. It's just all right, cool. I get to see all my friends and my family, and get to serve the Lord in a really fun way.
and that's something that needs talked about as well too, because as much as people don't want to, and I think I said it in one of the devotions, but you do get to at a point in your life where you seem to think that, okay, well, you keep a log, well, God, I've served 3 times this month, and I kind of really would like a new pair, of this and this and this, and why are things going so tough for me? It's all about where the heart's at. If you're looking in it for the Santa Claus purpose of God, you're going to struggle, and it's going to be tough. But here's the thing: the enemy is definitely going to throw that across your path. So be aware of that. If it ever comes to a point where you feel like it's working and you get frustrated and you get aggravated with it, you're no longer serving God. You either, and I don't mean to make anybody mad, but you either have your own intentions with what's going on here, or you're kind of looking at God as a Santa Claus. When you realize that serving is what just Jesus just did it because He did it. There wasn't a purpose behind it. So if you are kind of milling around and you're like, I'd like to serve, but this and this and this and this. The thing about it is just search your heart. And I tried to serve, and I don't know, Jamie, how many different applications I sent in. One on the prayer team, one I think the janitorial team. I made one up just to try to be a part of home church, and uh, God will lead you. God will lead you. And I went from clicking slides and not knowing anything uh, to
And to now being one of our backup producers. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, as long as you realize that it's not work and that it's not something that God is holding a gun or a knife up to your back and saying, you better get this done or you're not getting that blessing, that's that, you go into it for the friendship and for God. And what you end up getting out of it return is so much more than what you could have ever went to Him with your own persuasions and your own things of sort, as Paul
Right,
tells
yeah.
us. So, but that was another thing I think, and I think you can attest to this too, that it seems like you go to base camp or you just have an awesome Sunday, and I think everybody can relate to this, but I think it definitely bears coming from people who do serve, and that's not a look at us. Oh, we're big server. That's just saying this is just a point of view from two guys who do serve and who do enjoy the Lord and enjoy each other's company. Um, you get those highs and those lows, and it seems like the lows. Whenever you reach the lows, you want to try to go back to that time where you had that high. So whether it was base camp, you had a moment in base camp, or you had a moment Wednesday night prayer service, whatever it is, you have that moment and you want to try to relive it again. You have to realize that God's not going to put you back in that old moment because God is a God of constant. He's
Right.
continually moving. He continually getting better. So when you look back on that good moment at base camp, which I never will forget, we were laughing so hard because it got hot in our cabin. So Zach brought a fan and he propped the door open and he put the fan in the door, and uh, we would go to sleep, or we would try to go to sleep, and then we would get to laughing and stuff. But we ended up falling asleep, and it was like -3 out that morning, and we had the fan in the window, but we were so cold that we couldn't move. But I remember leaving with, like, I think, no joke, that whole, and this isn't bragging or anything like that, but that whole base camp, I may have gotten 8 hours of sleep the 3 days.
Maybe, yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, even though I'm tired, this is as good as, I can't wait to go back to this moment.
Right.
And yet here we are doing a podcast right now.
Right.
And so that's just an example of what God can do whenever you just realize, hey, we're just going to let this thing happen. Um, let him take control. And you have two guys who I don't know about you, but I am far from technically inclined to be doing something like this. But the Lord's
No, that's why we have JB, and thank the Lord that we have JB that
And he
understands all this technical background stuff.
Yep, and Jamie to keep an eye on us to make sure we don't get rowdy.
Yeah.
But
No promises.
The it just things like that that make you realize you're going to see dark days, and you're going to see that kind of stuff. But whenever you have relationships, whenever you have people that you can go to, whenever you have people that you can hang out with, and it's not, hey, let's go get a beer to help this out. It's, hey, you want to sit down, and even if it's play video games, I mean,
Right.
you want to come over and do this and do that. I mean, everybody was just so welcoming, and I think, and it doesn't hurt that we had the sports in common and we enjoy the same video games,
Right.
and
Yeah.
as of right now, uh, both of us currently don't have a child that we have to help our wives with. We both will have one on the way, but until
Yeah,
then,
congratulations. By
thank
the
you.
way.
But and congratulations, which I know everybody's gonna be like, "What? She's no,
No, not
no, she's
not
not
announcement.
pregnant."
No.
But the thing is whenever you begin to speak about them, like things have already happened, and you start believing that, and you let that worry get pushed out of the way,
Right.
boom, we're in the right spot.
Manifest. Yeah.
Manifested, baby. So, but that was another reason, kind of why the two of us, it was able to click as well as it was with our timing too, because we don't have as of right now, we don't have those extra obligations. So we had a little bit of free time to kind of sit down and conjure this little thing up and get things rolling. So
Yeah. So, um, yeah, it's been a lot of fun getting this started, and been a few months in preparation and thought and work, but here it is, and it's amazing to see God work just through some charitable giving from my family and stuff like that, and them believing in us, and excited to see God move through what two guys can do with amazing beards and just some strong faith in God. So
uh, while we are here at a crossroads, we're going to stop and give another shout out to the Tantera Farms, the folks at Tantera Farms. Any spice, tea, oil, you name it. If you just need a good conversation, go down there. Clayton Lyle will be your man. He has a smile on his face at all times, unless unless he's been at the gym at the YMCA and he hurts his back. Jamie can attest to poor Clayton in that state, but 99.999999% of the time, Clayton's got a smile on his face.
Yep.
Walk into Tantera Farms. I'm not much of a cooker. My wife is, so I go in there to talk to Clayton. She goes in there to get the chicken seasoning and the oil for this and blah blah blah. But
I've never had a spice of theirs that I didn't like, so it's all good stuff. Whether you're cooking spaghetti, throwing stuff on, a frozen pizza, brisket, anything, you name it, they got it. So
now, like I said, I'm not much of a chef myself. I can do simple spaghetti and stuff like that. But for those that are maybe not as much into the grilling and the cooking, and you like your teas and your coffee and stuff like that, definitely an amazing selection of tea and coffee. I used to drink some tea from there, but it just got to the point where I kind of fell off. But the coffee is definitely still something that is enjoyable. Go
can't
down
go,
there.
yeah, you can't go wrong with their coffee.
Um, I don't even know what the favorite flavor would be, but
Ooh, I don't know. I always go with their Mexico or their Guatemala.
yeah, the Guatemalan.
Yeah, I butchered that, but yeah, are always two really really good. Especially their light roast. Their dark roast is really good too, but I prefer their light roast.
And I don't know the location for you to put in your GPS, but I would say 90% of you probably know where.
If I remember correctly, it's on Fremont. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, Republic Road. I would say a lot of people know where Republic Road is at. Just take Republic Road and stop, and then just yell for Clayton. Clayton, help!
Yeah, I'm sure he would hear you.
I don't know the address. I'm sorry, Clayton, but
We'll definitely have to get on that next time.
yeah.
And speaking about more small businesses, one of our new members, Sarah Converse, does woodworking with a chainsaw. Have you seen any of her stuff online yet?
I've seen the Chiefs podium that we have back here in the booth
dude,
by us.
yeah, it's insanely cool. And Larry's been generous enough, and he's going to give me that after tomorrow, so I get to take that bad boy home.
So that's Larry's?
Yeah, it's Larry's right now. Yeah. So, but her company is Backwoods and Bare Feet. So I know she does amazing things with woodworking skills and stuff like that. So she was one of the lovely people that wanted to shout out, along with Chris Looney and Arcane Leatherworks. Dude is amazing. We're making keychains and all kinds of small stuff with leather. Got a wallet from him for Christmas. It's really, really cool. Haven't been using it yet because my one from Caitlin, my beautiful wife, is still going strong, but that is definitely in the lineup for my next one. And then we got a few more other businesses that we want to shout out, but unfortunately I don't have the names of them, and we'll get to those next time.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll have if you, like I said, just you're in service back here, Zach or I, one of us generally are back here. If not at the same time, one will be here and the other will not. If not, we're not hard to find in the crowd.
No.
So just give us a holler. Zach's on. I really don't have any social media. I found it best to just disconnect from that. So I currently don't have a social media. Zach does on Facebook. So I hate to shout him out like that, but
it's totally fine. If you guys want to set up a time to where you would love to come in and talk about your small business, we could find a time for you guys to do that, or send me the info and we will just plug you guys in and on a talk. I'm more than happy to share the small businesses and love on you guys through sharing your business, because small businesses drive our community, and that's one way that we love on each other. So
Well, I mean, and it seems like whether it comes with the stigmatism or not, being a Christian or a Christian-owned business, James Automotive, for example, there's one that just popped up in my head where Clay works. Um, he had made a comment about how people had called in and complained because he has risen on the business sign outside,
oh yeah,
and
yeah,
before I even knew that that's where Clay worked, I was like, man, I love the fact that the business is bold enough to say something like that. You know that the heart and the care is there as well. So
right.
I James Automotive. Yeah, if James Automotive need any mechanical work done, your boy Clay's got you. If not, I know his home personal address. He's a very nice guy. I would say that if you pulled up in his driveway, he would not steer you away. Sorry, Clay, to do that to you, but
I don't know if he would or not. I mean, he.
I heard him say it to Tyler one day after practice. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that.
But yeah, like Nathan said, we'd love to have you guys on and just talk about your small business and what you're doing for the community, and how you can serve the Lord through your small business. So, but now that we've talked about that, do you want to talk about how our friendship started and how we got to this point?
Yeah.
So, my wife Caitlin and I are the young adult leaders here at Home Church, and I don't know how that really started. I think Jamie came up and asked us and another couple, and unfortunately they left, and kind of all the responsibility came on to me and Caitlin, which we love and all that fun stuff, and we love hanging out with you guys, and couldn't ask for a better time and a better group of friends. But I think you guys came to an event on a Sunday after church, and I think that's how you and I met. And basically just started talking about sports, and it's easy for guys to bond over sports or video games or TV shows. And so I think that just kind of took off from there. And then serving back here in the media again is another great aspect and bonding experience, because you have to think 2 or 3 steps ahead to keep up with the worship team and all that fun stuff too. So,
And another thing about the young adults too is if that's something that you're not a part of and something that you would like to be a part of, um, it seems like even though there's nothing scheduled on a Sunday to eat afterwards, we still most of the time end
yeah,
up
I
going.
would say about 95% of the time we go out and eat.
Yeah, and that's the cool part about it is I mean the first time that I went out to eat, I was like, oh wow, this is a thing. We lived in actually the apartments, and we went to Brick, whatever
Bricktown,
Bricktown,
or
yeah,
something like that.
and that was the first time that I had met. I want to say Brett, Natasha, yeah,
Yeah.
because Bridget couldn't say no yet. Bridget wasn't yet. No, no, yet. She was still a baby, couldn't talk. She still had the look though,
Yeah.
that glare.
Yep. You can always tell when they're here when you can hear Bridget saying no.
But that's what it. I mean, the young adult, it's doing what its intended design was. It's getting younger couples together, and it's fun because I mean, whether we're doing activities or not, just get a phone call. Hey, what are you doing this weekend?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it turns into it's kind of the young adults hang out, and that's what I always thought it was. Well, then you begin to realize, well, I mean, Michael, Leonard, Jacob, you, me, Dalton, Brett, all of these guys, they just want to hang out with each other anyway. So it
Right.
turns
It's
from a young adults to just, hey, you want to come over and play video
building
games
relationships and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and watch the game? What are we doing? We're making chili tonight or whatever. Come on
Right.
over. and that's the best part
Right.
about the young adults is you feel like, oh man, Sunday we got the young adults, and it turns from, okay, let's go make friends, to, hey, we going tonight? Yeah, all
Yeah.
right, boom.
Right.
So,
And then you never know. I mean, Dalton could pull up with some extra Chiefs tickets to a playoff game. So
or the Mustang that he pulled up in,
right, you never know. So
rolled into backwoods with that Mustang. Yeah, become good friends with Dalton and Lacey. He
yeah,
gives away free playoff ticket. Well, next year, I don't know if he'll get playoff tickets or
I don't know.
not,
I mean,
but
they didn't get to choose, so I don't know if that's a every other year kind of thing for them or what it is. But either way, lucky Brett got to go to his first NFL game. Was a playoff ticket
and
or
he
a
got
playoff
to
game again.
watch
Yep.
Little John sitting up in the nosebleed sections with a concert.
But they had a fun time from what Dalton and Brett said. So it's slowly turning him into a Chiefs fan, hopefully. So whether
and and the that's another thing too, is whenever, I mean, there's so many different favorite sports teams. I mean,
right,
Michael alone has 5 favorite sports
right,
teams that he picks from, depending on how they're.
depending on how they're playing,
And
yeah. Right now
Leonard,
he's got Green Bay, but
Leonard, poor Leonard, Tua was bringing him. He was going to bring him out of Egypt. Tua
yep,
was bringing the Dolphins out of Egypt, and the concussions got him. So,
yep,
but that's another thing too. It doesn't matter if you're what kind of fan of whatever team. We're gonna jump in and root for your team with
right.
you.
Unless you're playing us, and then it's trash talk all the way.
Yeah.
But and from a loving manner. So
And I mean, there was that, and then not too long after I started going to the young adults and stuff like that. But like whenever I first started, Brooklyn wasn't coming here. I wasn't. Uh, I really wasn't in a good place. We weren't in a good place in our marriage whenever I first started coming to home church. So that was a big reason. God, I need to get back into something, because I know the way things are going right now aren't right. So swing into home church and see what's up. And after about 6 months, I think Brooklyn could finally start to see a change in who I was. And
right,
she was like, you know what, I think, which, I mean, she was always pro church anyways. It's not
right,
like she
yeah,
was, no, I'm never going to church. But it was the, oh man, we get 2 days off. I have to work one of them, so Sunday's our day off. So let's just have Sundays together. And uh, then that turns into just never going to church anymore and not even thinking about church. So, but really, it's like I said, I'm kind of shy whenever I first came around, but then it not so much shy as just wanting to listen and kind of hear what people were saying and what was going on and how people live life. And so Brooklyn is kind of like my cattle prod. So
yeah,
anything that I really don't care to do, I hear say, we really probably should. And I hear, we really probably should. And it's like, oh man. So um, whenever she started getting involved, I think it helped too, because she was able to make friends with Caitlin and
yeah.
um,
Natasha,
Natasha,
yeah,
all of them. I mean,
all of them.
she'll talk
So
to anybody. I'm not. We're not going to do a podcast with her on it.
we'd be here all day.
We would be here all day. We'd run out of tape. We'd run out of cloud. But I love her, and but no, that's that. So she was kind of the driving force of, we probably really need to. We need to get us right, and then we need to look into, instead of a Friday night and we've got a free night. Oh well, let's go to the bar, and let's call such and such and see if they want to go to the bar and hang out. It turned into, what's Zach and Caitlin doing?
Right.
What's Brett and Tasha doing? What's Leo and Mandy doing? And that's the fun part
Yeah.
of it too, is um, you are who you hang out with, and whenever you at first you think, oh, we're not going to do anything fun. We got to be Christians, like. We're going to go to golf and we can't even hit the ball hard, because God wouldn't want us to hit the ball hard, because
Right.
in First Ecclesiastes it says this and this and this. It's like, no, you you can let go of the things that this world has to offer and pick up what really needs to be picked up, and that's your walk with Christ. And you see these things flow into it, and that's what the
Right.
best part about it is the world, man. It tells you that, man, they're not cool. They're not going to be fun. Like you know, you really probably should just kind of hang out with yourself because it's just better off. And you really, whenever you begin to connect and look forward to, I guess it's just because for so long I was like, man, why do I got to go to church? You didn't want to, like, because you were made to do it, and it's
Right.
like, okay,
Right.
well, you're telling me about this guy that loves me so much, and I understand I've got free will. I understand we're sinners, but why does this guy? He's gonna punish me if I don't wake up on Sunday, and that's what you're told for so long, and you're like, yeah, I don't really want to be there then.
Right.
If you're making me go, and you walk in here and it's smiles and laughter and uh, but you also have to put in that extra effort. It's not just one of those things where you sit down in a chair and you go, you know what, Lord, if you want me to be a part of this, um, make my car turn left on the way home, and we'll, that whole praying to God, God, if you really want me to do this now. So you feel it in your heart, and you jump forward, and you realize that why didn't I do this a year
Years
ago?
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
but
I,
I think that it's also the it's the untold stories that sometimes, like, I know, for instance, I used to think when somebody's giving their testimony about God, they're bragging, they're
right.
bragging. And the problem is when with a mindset like that, you that's such a selfish mindset
Yeah.
because
You take everything for granted. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
take everything for granted, and that was a blessing. Like, that was a blessing. Like, when you see Mandy and Leonard holding baby Tate, they're holding a blessing. And we talk about, I wish just once I would like to, I can't wait to get to heaven to see what God and Jesus look like. And, there's just miracles not done like they're used to. And you see little baby Tate come through the door, and it just makes you smile because you realize that our God is bigger than what this world has to
Right.
say. And it's all about confidence. And that's the thing when you start out in your walk with Christ, you think, okay, well, we're a Christian, we're bold, so we're going to start off running. And it's like, no, no, you better just keep it walking. Like,
Yeah.
there's been so many times where I'll be doing a study for youth and stuff like that, and I'll get excited, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to, and it's like, no, slow down and walk. Let's, this is a time thing. This is
Yeah.
God working. This isn't about
Is
who
it his
can
timing or
get
mine?
done the
Yeah. Yeah.
fast. We're working to make things right the way that they need to be. So, um, I the I think it turned into a friendship thing, but this is like really talking about kind of like it's turned into a serving thing because it's just important that you realize things that can come out of. It is all about Jesus, but the side effects of things that whenever he's injected into your life that come out of it are little things like this. And this, I
Right.
mean, to some people it may seem silly, but to us this is everything. I mean, this is awesome. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always thought, how cool would it be to do a podcast, whether one person was listening or nobody listens, just to record one, and here we are. So I think, like I said, originally this was going to be like a friend, and it's still involved in there. But man, the importance of just, I'm not necessarily saying that you have to give everything, 100%. I'm not trying to recruit people. I'm not trying to, entice everybody with the televangelist. If you right now don't join in at home church for a $5.99 fee, um, but in all seriousness though, the perseverance that you learn whenever you don't want to serve and you don't want to be there at that moment, but you're like, you know what, God, I'm going to do it for you anyways. And there have been times, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the first series in youth, Back to the Future, I I was so nervous whenever I was doing it, but I remember telling God, I was like, I know I'm not going to remember a whole lot, but I just want you to know something, that I'm doing this for you, and I may sound stupid and I'm not going to enjoy it, but this is for you, because I know somehow this is going to work out better. And I think that the Lord conveyed that to Clayton, because slowly but surely Clayton let me come up and, will you mind reading this? You mind reading this? And so that was God, 100%. But
Right.
uh, that's the big that would be the big point that I would like everybody to understand here is whenever Clayton is up there, or whenever they're doing the announcement videos and they're talking about serving, um, at first you think, oh yeah, I bet they would like me to serve. That's you're gonna have sermons and stuff about that, and then you realize, oh, that's right. It's not about this, me, this, and this. It's about God, and you begin to reap the benefits of that reward, and that's what I my hope is for everybody, is that you get to a place in your life where, okay, here we go, another thing's coming at us, but God's given me friends, God's given me family, God's given me this and this and this, to let you know that we're here, because it's a big thing starting off in your walk with Christ, because you feel invincible, but you feel vulnerable at the same time, and it's because you are invincible as long as you give it to God. As long as you let God do it and you let God be the runner of your life, then you are invincible. But it's that part of when you let that fear and that, oh, I'm and me myself, I'm invincible. No, no, sit down, child. Sit down, like Reverend Clayton would say. So, just so you know, on this podcast, anytime I refer to Rev, that's Reverend Clayton, and Reverend Clayton is Loud Clayton. Reverend Clayton is Southern Baptist Pentecostal, and that's Reverend Clayton. There's Pastor Clayton, there's Clayton, and then there's Rev. So when I refer to Rev in a story, Rev was getting with it, Jack. He was testimonian.
I didn't realize you had three different levels
I've
for.
got three different Claytons.
Yeah.
There is Clayton Lyle that shows up Wednesday nights for youth.
Okay.
He is a lot like a child.
Okay.
He's an adult child. There's Pastor Clayton whenever he opens up the service and whenever welcome to home church. And then there's Rev. And Rev is about whenever you get into the altar call, about 30 minutes before and or after, because Reverend can bleed over to after the service.
Right.
Reverend Clayton is
We've gone late a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Reverend Clayton.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
When you go late, you've busted into Reverend Clayton. That's Rev. But no, I think that I don't know what do we want to talk about next? What?
I think you pretty much covered everything for this week. It definitely took a twist on talking about more serving than.
And that wasn't. It's like I said. That wasn't a thing of.
Just that was more of a God thing, I think,
Yeah.
than anything else.
I
I'm
mean,
kind of
just
following.
sitting here looking at all of this
Yeah,
computer stuff, and JB back here helping us like the dad that he is,
Right.
Getting everything set up, looking after us. He stayed over, and that just rolled through my mind, and I got to thinking about Jamie's in there working. You've got the kids in the back, and just
Right.
how amazing all of this is. And it wouldn't have. I'm not gonna say it wouldn't, but if I would have just sat in the seat and just been like, "Thank you, God. Here's my 10%. I'm gonna head out. I did church this week." Then there's no way that I would be in the place that I am now, and I'm not. I am the furthest thing from a millionaire that you will meet, and
Right.
if you were to ask me to borrow $300 right now, I'm like, I was coming to ask you to, but no, no, not really. I'm not, but but the thing is whenever you lay all that and you let all that go, and I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. I'm not saying look at Nathan, be like Nathan. What I am saying is give it all to God, and you'll be amazed at the things
We can do.
that
And
He can
yeah,
do. And
yeah,
all of that started with me saying, "All right, God, I'm going to hand this over to you. Where am I serving?" And it was where we're at right now
right.
in the media.
Yep.
And I had always felt like I had wanted to do some form of preaching, and I always felt that on me. But I was like, I don't know how the media is going to have anything to do with that, but I really don't care. I just want to be a part of whatever it is you've got going on here. And he's done with that what he's done. So that it's like I didn't. I hope I didn't sour anybody on trying to recruit serving, because that's definitely not what I was doing. But until you can learn to give what's God's to God, and that is His time, and that is His flock, His people, helping them out, until you can give yourself up in that aspect, then it's truly hard to, whenever you have somebody sitting back here, whether, which, I mean, I know Clayton works. We, just so everybody knows, typically we're probably going to do most of these on a Saturday. Um, and Clayton does have to work on Saturday, so I know Clayton is the big fish to catch for this podcast. He's the Joe Rogan of preachers in Springfield right now. So we're really trying hard to get him on the podcast. We don't know if we can do it or not.
We may have to come in a special day.
Yeah, yeah.
The main reason why we have to do it on Saturdays is because I work nights, and unfortunately for everybody, it's inconvenient for when most people have normal 9 to 5s, and I have a 2:30 to 11. So we do what we can and all that fun stuff, and pray that I can either find a new job or something works out. So we're doing what we can with God's given us at the moment. So
And I mean, you got to start somewhere, that.
right.
But I mean, I know we don't have video right now, but if you could see the way that this little desk is set up, I mean, we are hot to trot. Listen here. Hey, we've got a live studio audience.
Got all the soundtracks. So yeah, there's a lot to come in the future. I know we're talking about doing a couple different series, um, doing a guys talk where we talk about sports and just some probably some testimonies coming from that, from just a friendship aspect of more like behind the scenes of base camp, and how the base camp fantasy football league has bonded a bunch of us together and stuff like that. And hopefully we can get a camera together
Go Christian McCaffrey.
and get a camera rolling. We could do that from inside my man cave at the house, so that'll be a fun time too.
Yeah, and let's see, what else were we gonna? Oh yeah, we were gonna do the. Uh, I can't even think now what we. I had said something. I was like, man. Anyway, yeah, the two separate ones. This kind of turned into more of, oh, kind of like what the man cave would have been in a sense.
Right,
This is this will be more along the guidelines of what the man cave, and whenever we have one guest on and we talk about their story and whatnot, that is more of the guidelines of what the home church
Deeper and more
podcast,
connected.
deeper
Yeah.
and more detailed into one person and their story. So that way, if you are wanting to be, I don't know, let's just say it's a part of the worship team or whatever it is, and you've never known what it's like, what's the worship, what is it, blah 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 blah. Hopefully, we can get Nathan Winfield, Mandy, anybody on the worship team, Dana, Tyler, Dalton, Leo, Michael, any of those
Caitlin,
guys. Yeah,
anybody.
we get them, and we can have you serve back with the kids. I'm not sure the ages, the groups. I mean, I know it's
Right.
obviously all kids, but I'm not sure what rooms the exact ages are in. But you get that point of view from somebody who's come in from the streets that just walked into home church and they weren't here from Venture, and you get their stories, and then you've got the ones who have been friends since Venture
Venture
and
and
before
before,
then,
yeah,
and
yeah,
those are the ones that I'm excited because this friendship is 2 years young. You've got,
right,
I mean, you look at Dennis and Nathan at base camp. They were saying I can't remember how many years they had done base camp, and they had
uh,
always stayed in the same room. And
for a fat minute.
yeah, it
They
was a
always share
long,
the same room, and half the time I think they were sharing the same bed. They always get the
yeah.
king or queen size bed, and always end up sharing that. So
And then you hear stories about how they, you know, we were up until this doing this and this and this and blah 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 blah, and you hear those stories about that, and you see Nathan and Dennis. Nathan, beards and riffs taken off. Dennis, nice little barbecue joint down there in Ozark. Delicious food.
yep,
Another shout out.
can't go
But
wrong. And then not just to talk about the guys, but the women of
yeah,
home church is a phenomenal thing. The fact to see them start flourish last year was amazing too. And then you guys, you and Brooklyn, stepping up and helping with the youth and stuff like that. It's been really really cool to see. And I have a bad habit of turning my face and not talking right into the mic. So, but we'll work on that too. But the yeah, just the fact that you guys have been stepping up and all that fun stuff has been really really cool to see.
and that was I don't mean to cut the women out on that at all because if we're going to talk about women, another powerful woman in this home church is Dana, and the way Dana and Tyler have stepped in to fill in for Mandy and Leonard while
Right?
they've been
Yeah.
gone, and I know Nathan had a lot to do with the worship, and Beards and Riffs took off. So Dana and Tyler have done an amazing job. My wife has nothing but good thing, obviously, about all the women. Um, but Dana, she absolutely loves Dana, and you can just tell that there's a fire and a passion in her for not just home church, but for Jesus and in the right way, and that's another good thing. So I don't mean to single out any women in this. That wasn't my intent, but it's just the base camp
Yeah.
and theme and stuff
It's
like
it's a
that.
lot easier for us to talk about something that we've gone through versus,
And
and I think we would more, I mean personally, love to sit down with some of the women
oh
and
yeah,
hear their stories about Flourish. I mean, Caitlin has nothing but good things to talk about and is always excited and stuff like that every time they come home from an event. So it's always a good time from everything I hear.
my my big thing is, and this is just honesty. I'm working on it. Um, I do enjoy listening to stories, um, but there are some people in my household. I'm not going to name names in the household that can talk, and it's not me. But they tell stories, and they're they're good stories. I love the stories. Love you, babe. Uh,
I thought you were talking about Murphy.
oh no, I feel he gets to hear it and he can't talk back. He has to just listen to it. Um, but there are stories that she'll tell about work and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh yeah. But the ones about home church and the ones about the flourish events and stuff like that, like you can really see the excitement, and
Yeah,
that's it's what it's all about. That's
right.
what
It's one of our big three principles here at Home Church: finding Jesus, finding your purpose, and finding community. And I feel like that's what a big focus for us is. That if you find Jesus and your purpose, which is serving somewhere, then you find your community. And the fact that all of us are either young adults or the empty nesters or back in the youth or hanging out with the youth or media worship, whatever it is, it's all tying together, and it's just one big community. And you got different parts serving in different areas, but it's all just one big family.
and the cool thing about it is like whenever you do have those relationships, where, for instance, you have whether it's Jamie and Clayton, whether it's Brooklyn and myself, where you get the young kids that see Brooklyn or Jamie or I'm trying to think of who all else serves in the back. You've got Corinne serves back there.
Corinne,
But the thing is you see these people and they
Kaylin,
serve, yeah,
yeah,
and they serve in one area, but then they also can come out on a Sunday and, oh, they were back here, but they're also in the worship team or
right,
whatever it is,
yeah,
And so to have that connection and to help a kid grow from a baby to whenever they're getting ready to leave, and they've been in this environment the whole time, so they know, hey, this is so they're really practicing what they're preaching. They're
right,
not coming here to put on a facade for people, and then whenever it's done, shutting the lights off and being like, "Whoo, that one barely cleared," and then getting out of here. It's about the people, and I mean, like Clayton says, he can end the service at probably 11 o'clock and go over, and there would still be people standing out there talking with each other just because they
right.
enjoy each other's company. So
There's been times we don't leave until 12:30, and you know no one's upset about it or anything like that. It's all just about
I've learned that the best thing to do is whenever I hear my wife say, "You ready?" and I say yes, I can expect 5 to 6 more of those "Are you ready?"
yep,
and yeses.
yep.
After six, that's whenever I'll do my own
And
thing.
that's when you go start the car, and then she either comes out or she doesn't. So
But that's I mean, I hate to drag it out and make it boring. I could sit and just talk, but I think we will probably. You want to wrap this one up, or you
yeah, I
got
think
more you
so.
want
I
to?
mean, at this point, I think we're just kind of dragging it out and
Yeah,
being kind of selfish, having just fun talking and stuff like that.
yeah.
So um, again, we want to thank all you guys for listening. Um, we love you guys, and thanks for believing in us and giving us a chance to do something new and fun and a new way to serve the Lord. And hopefully, you guys like it and will enjoy everything coming up.